What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is quite unique. It's quite different. I'm going to be talking about a debate that was had between Vaush and Professor Flowers. Vaush is a white dude you see here on the screen, the white liberal. And Professor Flowers is a black woman you see on your top left, the black woman. And this encounter, in my opinion, perfectly highlights what I call white genetic survival. And don't worry, don't worry. I'm going to break it down perfectly, right? So this debate essentially happened, I think, a year or two ago, between Vosh and Professor Flowers. And the debate originally started off about, black nationalism, right? And how Professor Flowers, she felt like Vosh was being disingenuous when he was speaking on black nationalism, because he was trying to equalize the two and making it seem as if it was the same. And the argument that Professor Flowers said, look, white nationalism is based on the idea of white people believe that they're superior to other groups, and so therefore they don't want to coexist with them. Black nationalism is about the fact that black people feel that they've been oppressed by whites and other groups, and so they want to create their own spaces, right? That was the original debate. But somehow, the conversation went from that to black people wanting revenge on whites. I swear to God. Somehow, the white liberal Vosh, he took that conversation and turned it into, you guys want revenge on whites, right? And the man started talking about black on black crime. The man started talking about how, not all white people racist, we're not all colonialists. What about whites in South Africa? He literally brought up white South Africa. And it's like, when I saw this encounter, I said, Professor Flowers, I understand how you feel. And Vosh, he doesn't even realize he's doing it. Vosh, let me ask you a question, right? Professor Flowers talked about how she believes in giving all of the land of North America back to natives, right? She had no problem with that. However, you, Vosh, you had an issue. You were screaming. You were like, no, I don't want to do that. But see, why, Vosh? Because fundamentally, Professor Flowers understands that a U.S. government fundamentally benefits white people, white settlers, white Americans the most. And so she knows that she has less to lose in the territories returned by Native Americans. But you, as a white liberal, although you may have policy differences with white conservatives, you're still part of the white majority. And so you know that if the land were to be given back to Native Americans, you would lose a system that essentially puts you at the top of the globe. That's the reason why you are so much against the territory being given back to Native Americans, but she was not. Okay? Same thing when it came to South Africa, right? She talked about how, hey, white South Africans should essentially leave the country, right, because of what it did. But you were against that. Now, you acknowledge that whites still have an economic advantage, right? But somehow try to make the argument that, the people who colonized South Africa, or the people who were, right, they can somehow live ethically in South Africa despite the history. What I'm trying to say here, and by the way, it's going to be a short one, but what I'm trying to say here is that Vosh and Professor Flowers perfectly represents what I've been saying, which is that it doesn't matter if a white person is on the left or the right. When it comes down to the genetic survival of the Own Code, you will see a white liberal who talks about how much they support equality, how much they're against white supremacy, aka. But the moment you start to advocate for policies that will seriously take away their power as a group, they all get on code. Vosh, who loves talking about how conservatives are racist, Republicans are white supremacists, right? We gotta turn. He loves pandering to minorities. But the moment Professor Flowers, the moment black folks, the moment people started advocating for policies that will actually get rid of quote unquote whites or white privileges, he was against it. And of course, Vaush got a backlash. Vaush, the reason why so many blacks went bad because you represented why so many groups don't trust white liberals. I remember recently, right? There's this woman by the name of Anna Kasparian, right? Anna Kasparian has been one of the main, I guess, leading white liberal females on Young Turks. This woman, she talks about how Republicans are racist, which is true, right? But the whole idea is that they're racist, but us white liberals are different, right? But then recently, Anna Kasparian had a whole video live stream talking about how we gotta stop with all this anti-white racism. And I was like, what? Anna Kasparian, I'm like, she is supposed to be the sort of white progressive talking about anti-white racism. But see, what this showed me, Anna, what this proves to me is what I always said, right? You guys only talk about minority issues or how much you care about as long as your position is challenged. Because look, it doesn't matter if it's Vaush or Anna. White liberals are not dumb. They recognize that although they may have different political and policy objectives compared to white conservatives, they're still white. They're still Caucasian. They still benefit from the system. And so they recognize that anything that will remove white people's privileges in a serious way will hurt them. They will feel it. Yeah, you may be a white liberal, but you're still white. You still get white privileges. And so when I'm seeing Vaush talking about black people want revenge and shit, it's crazy to me. When I see Vaush talking about how he does not want to return land Native Americans, because he feels like that will essentially undermine the power of America. In other words, that will undermine his position as a white person, right? He essentially is against what he calls black revenge, right? And then you have Anna Kasparian talking about anti-racism. It's like what I'm starting to see, and also you have, I think, who's the other guy? I forgot his name, but what I've been seeing is a lot of white liberals who've been spouting out white conservative talking points recently. White conservative talking points. Because what this comes down to, right, is that once again, when I tell people that white liberals and white conservatives are the same to me, because once again, they're all part of the same white collective, folks get mad. How can you say that? White people get mad. Oh my God. I said, no. There's a reason why I said that. The reason why many black people or non-whites don't trust you guys, because we have this feeling that a white liberal at any point can easily go from all pro-minority to quote-unquote anti-white racism. But we know this, and Vaush and Anna proves that. Just a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about how a couple of years ago, talking about how much they're against white supremacy. So now they're literally talking about how we gotta stop anti-racism. That's Anna Kasparian. Then you got Vaush talking about how black people want revenge and black on black crime. He literally said black on black crime. Now, to be fair, he did that as a response. But the fact that he would even use that argument shows you that that's something he thinks that's something that's in the back of his mind. What all this is telling me is that a lot of white liberals, they do view black people the same way that many white conservatives do. They just don't voice it. Because the moment you get them angry, the moment they don't get their way, they start to sound the same way as the right. So I hope that black people learn, or I guess understand, that there is no such thing to me as I hate to say this, there is no such thing to me as a white ally. There is no such thing to me as what I call a white person who's against what's. That doesn't exist. How can a white person be against their group having power? Think about that. It's literally impossible. For a white person to be against his group having power is impossible. There's no such thing. All you have is a white population that have differences in terms of politics, policy, right? And that may manifest in how they interact with non-white heroes. But fundamentally, when push comes to shove, they will be on call for the group. And I hope that black people understand this, and I hope that non-whites understand this moving forward. With that being said, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And by the way, guys, don't worry, guys. I'm gonna try to upload more videos. I know it's been a long time, so just hang in there. But anyway, make sure to like, subscribe, and hammer out.